Maybe let's try now. Okay, hello guys. I hope you can hear us and now everything works well. Sorry for being late. We had a little technical issue. Also, those time zones are tricky. I'm still not sure if it's summertime or winter time because of this epidemic situation. So hello, I'm Jacek and I have Maciej with me.
Hello there.
I hope you can hear him as well. And today we will play Rover Mechanic Simulator Training Day.
Which is a free-to-play version, like a prologue entry to Rover Mechanic Simulator.
Yes, exactly. I will just check if my game is up and running. Okay. Okay, I think everything is cool, so we should be able to play now. Sorry again for being late. Okay, so Rover Mechanic Simulator Training Day. It's a free-to-play game for you guys who enjoyed the demo and wanted to play some more. That's why in this game you can play through the whole tutorial, and after that you can decide if you want to play even more. Okay, so I will put my name here. Let's check the settings, if we have everything correct. Okay, so first of all I'd like to say it's nice to see you, Maciek, because we haven't seen each other for a few months because of the corona situation.
Oh yeah, we all haven't seen each other for quite some time, so it's always nice to see our peers, right?
Yeah. So recently we are working really hard to give you guys more games, especially Occupy Mars, which everybody's waiting for, and also Dinosaur Fossil Hunter. So I must admit I am not sleeping a lot those days, but we are close to releasing the demos. The demo versions of Occupy Mars and Dinosaur Fossil Hunter will be available on June 9th during the Steam Games Festival, so only a few days left. I hope you will enjoy those games, and we are waiting in anticipation for your feedback and for some suggestions you may have for improving our games. Okay, so let's try to fix some rovers maybe.
Coming back to all that sleeping disorders, I think it's a common thing among game developers. Like insomnia is our thing.
Unfortunately. Okay, so it's been I think 4 months since the release of Rover Mechanic, the main game. And since I was so busy with Occupy Mars and other things, maybe I really need this tutorial to remind myself how to fix those rovers, because Curiosity update is coming. It's still in development, but it's closer to release. So we need to train some rover fixing before we can fix the big one, because Curiosity is really the bigger rover than everything in this game so far, like
Yes, creme de la creme.
Yeah, so basically I think you can expect double the playtime after Curiosity update. So yeah, I personally can't wait, and I assume you also. Okay, so Maciek, what kind of music would you want today?
Classical.
Okay, that kind of mood. Let's make it louder. It always starts like slow.
Oh, it's a build-up. It's always
Yeah.
it is like that always with classical music.
I'm hoping it's not too loud for you guys. Okay, so the PCB table. I remember what this is for. So, for those of you who played the demo version, I think you didn't have a chance to fix the PCB in the demo. So now you can for free in the Rover Mechanic Training Day. So we invite you to download the game and try that. That's the table. That's the configurator. Okay. Before the stream, I was talking to Maciek that maybe we should do a speed run for you to see if we can do it like faster than most people. I'm not sure if we can.
I'm not sure either. But given my experience from the previous stream, I'm sure I wouldn't be focusing on a game, so it would be pointless in the middle, I think. Like, some people are telling us that the music is too loud.
Oh, great! So it's good that they told us at the beginning, because we are not so busy with the Rover yet. Okay, is it better now? Oh, it's good to be back on Mars. I really feel like home from this point. It's if you guys read the article by, I think it was Rock Paper Shotgun, that this game is like a Zen experience. That it's a place where you can hide from the emails and all the busy everyday life. And after working so hard on the games, I really feel like I'm on vacation right now on Mars. I can use that. Yeah, so it's good to be here. Not sure if you also feel that, but I really do. Okay.
Personally, when I see this game, I feel like I was in the office, and I think you get that. It's I spent so many hours looking at that screen, so it's not really a thing that I long for, but it's definitely not something bad, of course. Okay, so we're in the order selector view, right?
Right. So I'm just taking the time to read all those texts. Yeah. And now let's start with the first Rover.
What is the right pronunciation for this one? It's Sojourner, right?
I think so.
Yeah, because that's what I'm thinking it is, but that's what I think it is. But actually, I'm not sure, because I think it comes from this woman, Sojourner, that she was an activist. Like she was, you know who she was?
I think I read on Wikipedia about her sometime ago.
And I think that the name was supposed to be pronounced Sojourner. All right. So warehousing analysis. So we're not. Yeah, we have nothing to do here. Yeah.
Jumping from screen to screen.
Let's just skip all the tutorials like every people do, and then we'll just forget how to play the game.
So I just wanted to take a moment to admire the amazing UI you created because guys, you don't know that Maciek was responsible for this UI, and he changed it so many times. He wanted it to be perfect. So just take a moment and admire it.
I don't think there's anything to admire, but I'm
think
flattered
it's-
anyway. But
I think it's we couldn't like we couldn't create anything better for this game, like more suitable for the job it has to do. Like minimalistic, but everything has its place. Okay, so the quest view tutorials, yes. This is going to be easy. Everything seems to be fine. Oh my god, it's it. So many days have passed since I tested this game before release. Feels like eternity. So many bugs were fixed in Occupy Mars since then. and this epic
and so many are going to be fixed
Yeah.
yet.
Okay. I really I'm enjoying this more than I did 1,000 times before, because I played this game so many times, but right now I have time to just take a moment and appreciate.
Indulge into this.
More
Yeah.
like a gamer, less like a developer, tester, everything.
I've never spoken to you about this game actually. The first time you were playing it, and the first time you used the crane that you operate to take down the container cargo from the heavy rover, have you ever tried to step on it?
On the crane?
On the crane, yes. When you use it, like when you just when you take the cargo, you put it on the table, and then the first thing I did when I played the game for the first time, when I was able to play the game for the first time, was I just tried to step on it, and of course it goes up, so you can't do it, but it's a basic thing that everybody does in this game. Everybody tries to step on this thing. It's kind of intuitive for people to try to break things, and I'm wondering whether you had the same experience with it.
I would have to go to the crane window and try it. Because you mean the overhead crane on top?
Yeah, like you have the overhead crane and you just take the cargo from the heavy rover, you put it on the table, and then the first thing I did was just leaving the crane at the bottom, so it was touching the floor, and then I exit. Yeah, but it's impossible, of course. But that was the first thing that I tried to do.
Okay, I have to try this. I actually didn't thought about this.
Oh, you see, so you don't have this intuitive kind of breaking everything gamer in you. I mean, the first thing I did was try to break it, and that's why the programmer just didn't allow people to do it. But it's really funny that you see people doing it, trying to do it.
Yeah, it's. I watched some videos, some gameplays, how people play this game, and sometimes people have such different techniques, because I always assume that this game is basically, you could say, more or less linear. I mean, later you can.
Yeah, it's more or less the same. Like you still do the same things, and there is not much to add to that formula.
Some people just invent ways to play it. We just didn't plan this. We had no idea that somebody could do it.
Alright, so the first wheel goes there.
Okay, so for me this is really a training day, because so we did so many things since releasing Rover Mechanic. It was 4 months ago, but so much has happened that I really feel like I need to train, because I almost forgot how to play. Not sure if you have the same feeling. Okay.
Oh yeah, so Cerber got that, what I was talking about. And then you smash the escape button to leave the controller fast enough so we can try getting on the crane. So that was exactly what I was talking about, yes.
I have to try it also.
Oh, it's impossible, of course, but it's just the thing that people do when they see games. They just try to break them.
Oh, remember when at first when we released the game, we had no idea that people would take out the configurator after completing the mini game. It's just
even though it was
it was possible, but
it was also noted in the tutorial that you shouldn't do it.
Yeah, but you know, people just tend to skip tutorials.
People are people, yeah.
I'm glad we still have this button here, so you can always check again. Yeah, but it was a surprise, at least for me. And then we changed that. Okay, now probably the bearings. So now maybe I will try to go into the speedrun mode, but first the crane race. The crane race you mentioned.
Oh yeah. So we just put it on the bottom and just try to step on it.
But first, put in the rover or not?
Oh,
It's
irrelevant. Yeah.
Okay. Like the closer to me, the better, right?
Yeah, of course.
Oh.
It's impossible.
Yeah, I'm still in the. It's super fast. I'm still in the MCU. I'm in the screen. Okay, that's still okay. Do you still hear the music, or do we have like? Is it quieter now? It's probably another classical piece.
Oh, maybe so. Let's change it to synthwave or something like that.
Yeah.
Let's give it some 80s vibe.
Let's do this.
It's really funny how people associate synthwave music with 80s, even though 80s music was not like that all the time. You know, not all 80s music is like that. It's really funny sometimes. I think South Park covered it in one of the episodes that they anticipated really good 80s vibe, some synthwave sounds and music while they were going to some place, and they just kept stumbling over lame old ass lame songs on the Spotify playlist. So that's really funny, but okay, it's not really relevant to the gameplay. But
I know what you mean, because it's like a music we want the 80s to have, like we imagine the past, yeah, in brighter colors sometimes.
Oh yeah. The great example is Stranger Things. Have you ever seen Stranger Things?
I didn't.
This is TV series, because this TV series has like its own music. It's entirely like you could say what was the word for that? Proprietary. So it was created especially for this TV series. Mm-hmm. But it sounds 80s to us. Like, you hear it, you think, oh man, this is so 80s. Even though, is it really? I think it's not. It's different. I mean, I get it. It's kind of an 80s vibe. You know, you can hear those waves, synth waves in the middle, and especially if you connect it with some pink colors, neon colors, then you get the idea that this is about the 80s, but it's not the 80s. And what is even more funny about that is that I'm not from the 80s. Like, I'm not an 80s kid even.
I still have the 80s like tag. I was the lucky one to still, like, I can still call myself an 80s guy, even if it was very late 80s.
Yeah. Then you're the lucky one. But actually, in Poland, that time was pretty tough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, let's see. I think we have printed everything we need for now. Yeah, the time was tough, but still, recently I talked to someone and he said that this time was tough, but it was like optimistic, that we knew like uh, things were not good in our country, but it was like starting to get better, and then after the how is it called, martial law was
Introduced, and then it was.
after it was like cancelled, then,
Oh yeah.
then it just everything was like in ruins, you could say, because people had no jobs, there was almost no companies in Poland, but then all those possibilities started to emerge.
Oh yeah, like I think that the moment after the martial law was cancelled, so to say, people were more naive because they were believing that the future definitely holds something better than it was before, and things couldn't be more bad than they were in the past.
Yeah, right.
This is true. I agree with that 100%. Even though this was a little bit about being naive, I think.
But I mean, it was a great time for like starting a company because
given that there were no companies in
Yeah.
Poland, yeah, there was a great moment for that.
and we have to remember that even companies like CD Projekt or Playway basically started back then on the Polish
Maybe with different names back then, but
the Polish PC markets, like a place where you could buy any software basically, because Poland didn't have copyrights back then, any kind of, I mean, people didn't even have, in the beginning of the 90s, people in Poland didn't even have the idea about
yeah, copyright infringement was nothing. It wasn't even considered a thing back then. But actually, the average wage was so low that I wouldn't even try to explain to people that they were supposed to buy software. I mean, they were earning so little money that I wouldn't even dare to tell them to waste this money on software. I mean, I don't consider buying software waste of money, but in terms of early Poland, early post-communistic Poland, that was a different thing back then. So I kind of understand that. We're getting a little political here. I think it's like,
yeah, maybe a little bit, but it is because of synthwave. It's not our fault.
oh yeah, sure,
It brings
sure.
back all those memories about first, like, Commodore PCs.
But the funny thing is that this delay was kind of prolonged in Poland, and even though I was born in the midst of the 90s, in the middle of the 90s, exactly in the middle, I still got the opportunity to try Amiga, or stuff like Atari and things like that. So I remember Amiga, I remember PlayStation 1, I remember NES consoles that in Poland were called Pegasus,
Yeah,
right? But I remember all of that, and I still had chance to fiddle with that. And this is really interesting because every time I speak with people of my own age, with the people that come from the United States, for example, they don't even know what I'm talking about. Like 16-bit computer or 8-bit console? Oh, this is some ancient stuff you're talking about. What kind of sorcery is this? And we're quite well acquainted with that.
Yeah, my friends from my neighborhood, when I was in primary school, I think there was one guy who had Pegasus console, and one guy who had like one of the first PCs in our neighborhood. So basically, like everybody wanted to just visit them every time, whenever it is possible, to just play. And games like, what was your favorite game on those Pegasus clones? I really enjoyed, how is it called? Damn it, I have to think for a moment and I'll remember.
So my favorite game on NES consoles for the NES system was, I think, Battletoads. I don't know if you know this one, but I have never had Battletoads in my life. My neighbors did get a copy of that one. Even though it was a pirated copy, that was really a great game. And it was so difficult, we couldn't even beat the second level, but still we were playing it like crazy. Battletoads, it's a classic. But the game that I had and I appreciated the most, I think there were like 3 or 4 games like that. Especially that was Battle City. In Poland, it's known as Tank 1990. Tanks. You just driven some tanks and
yeah, I know this one. I remember. Yeah, there were so many great games back then. Like even the Pong. Everything started with Pong. I think there was first there was Tennis for Two. It was the first game, like a computer game. It was made by some scientists on the Spectrum.
ZX Spectrum?
No, I mean the visualization tool, before even monitors were invented. I don't remember.
Oh, you mean Magnavox Odyssey, the first console in the 70s, right?
That was even later. I mean the first game was Tennis for Two, made on just physics oscilloscope. So it was a normal scientific oscilloscope to measure voltage of things, right? And to show like
oscilloscope, right?
Yeah, to show like alternating current and things like that. So a guy, I don't remember his name. When I was at university, I created some lecture about it, and we implemented implemented the copy of the game. So it was a game where you had one button and like potentiometer, and you could rotate it to like steer the palette in the Pong, and yeah, I think it was considered the first video game.
What I heard that was the first video game was that game on those big computers that were taking up too much space in the room. And they wasn't even considered video games, as they were just programs that were supposed to calculate things, and you were playing with matchsticks. What do you call it? You know what matches are, right? Just light a fire with them, and you were playing with matches with the computer. You were just telling computer what have you done with them, and the computer was calculating it and playing with you in that manner. But I don't know what is it called. I don't even know details about this, so I can't really tell you more about it. And some people are asking us on the chat, are you playing from office? Not afraid of Corona?
Yeah, so I came to the office because my home office, after like 3 months of super heavy development and working on stuff, I decided the background needs some cleaning, and I didn't have time for that. So I'm being honest with you guys. I need to clean my room at home, but I don't have time for this right now because Occupy Mars needs to release. So first I decided, let's visit the office, let's see if computers are still here. Are they working? So
Here they're alone, so I think it's
yeah, I am alone. I think there was one of our graphic designers in the other room earlier because he's got like not very great internet at home. But yeah, for those who are watching the stream, I can tell you a secret. Even you, Maciej, didn't know about it. That there will be some office upgrade after everybody returns from the lockdown, but that's a secret.
all right.
I mean, not something like totally revolutionary, but more of an evolution, I would say.
Okay, and
Just to
another
be-
question. Another question. Not too much dust at the office. I think that if there are no people in the office, the dust isn't accumulating.
There was some dust, but it's taken care of already.
All right. Dust is not a thing that I think we want to talk about right now.
Yeah. So the office is waiting for you guys. Everything is clean. There will just be some few more upgrades, I would say, and just wanted to have this feeling that it's nice to be back. Yeah.
All right. So,
We live in really strange times, I would say.
I think the times are just telling us that everything is going to change, and we're going to be different people after that. Like maybe not. I'm not talking about us exactly about us, because we are already kind of.
Not so normal.
Yeah, maybe that wasn't the exact word I was looking for, but we are the kind of people that live with computers. Like, computers are our thing, and we're fine with that. But I imagine some people just got to know that you can do things on the computer different than logging into Facebook and scrolling through your Twitter account or something like that.
Yeah.
And
More people discovered Steam.
yeah. So some people discovered Steam. I think that the first day after the lockdown was the world record in Steam users at the same time, and also in Counter-Strike Global Offensive had the biggest number of players. And it's funny because I was playing Counter-Strike at that time with my girlfriend.
Yeah, right. I also, in the last few months, I played a few times because, yeah, sometimes when you work from home so much, you have to like, how to say it? I mean, Counter-Strike is a great
Blow
game
off
for
steam.
Yeah, blow off steam. Yeah. After testing 20 bugs or trying to fix something and it doesn't want to cooperate, killing some terrorists is just a zen experience.
Yeah, or getting killed.
And did you play Counter-Strike like before, the old one?
Of course. I actually that was one of the first times I've ever played Global Offensive, because before I played 1.6. Even before that, there were some other Counter-Strike modifications to Half-Life, which I was familiar with, and of course Counter-Strike Source. But when I was a kid, I had a really poor internet connection. Actually, I didn't have any internet connection before, and when I got one, I couldn't play Counter-Strike Source on my laptop, and I was forced to play Counter-Strike 1.6. But I think in Poland that was a pretty common thing.
Yeah. Actually, I started with 1.5.
Oh yeah?
I think it was before Steam existed, because it was It was still more of a mod to Half-Life than separate game, and I didn't have internet either, but I had this. Maybe I had this privilege, or I was lucky that
You had the switch over in the whole building.
that we had Counter-Strike basically fanatics in our like neighborhood. So those guys were organizing LAN parties. Like you had to take your PC in one hand, your big ass monitor in the other. We were meeting in the basement, and direct cable connection. That was everything we could. So one guy took a cable and even used it between the balcony and the basement to play with us from his room. So yeah, but then,
Giga G just commented, gamers be gaming. Oh yeah, that's the thing.
those old LAN parties, it was like local version of Steam.
Been there, done that. But I was local without internet. I was playing maybe Heroes of Might and Magic 3, or also Tar: The Burden of the Crown, and things like that. Mostly RTS strategy games.
Yeah, Heroes 3. This game probably saved thousands of families, because during like family meetings, like winter holidays, things like that, people just were playing on the it was hot seat mode.
Oh, yeah, it's a hot seat mode. Yeah.
So instead of sometimes
You take turns.
yeah, sometimes on winter holidays families get together, and then there are some talking about politics. Some people disagree with each other, but here we had Heroes 3 and there was peace.
You can always settle an argument playing Heroes 3, right?
You could just fight
In the game. Yep. I sometimes just miss those times. I didn't care what I was playing. What was really important that I was playing anything. Since I didn't have a good computer, I was always looking for old games and old console games, because I was actually almost always a console player. Like back in the days, like I told you, I had Amiga, which was kind of like more of a console than a PC, I think. I mean, it had a operating system, this Amiga OS, but it was kind of different. Did you have any chance to fiddle with Amiga?
For me, it was like my life. I can divide my life into like two parts. First one is before I had a PC, and second one is after I had a PC. And before I had a PC, I just visited my friends very often who had it.
I get it.
So I didn't start with. I mean, I played on Pegasus, or I think my cousin had Commodore. So on Commodore I played some games. I think there was F20 Raptor for it. It's like a side-scrolling, top-down flying game where you could shoot things. I also remember Frogger, I think.
Oh yeah, that was such a game. I think Activision did it, didn't it? Because it was really interesting, the history of Activision, how it came into existence. Did you know that Activision was the first studio to make games and call themselves a studio? Like before that time, games were just made by proprietary companies. Like Sega had a console. Okay, it wasn't Sega. It was Atari. Atari had a console, and Atari was developing games.
Actually, he was Polish. Jack Chmiel. He was, I think, he founded Atari, and he was responsible for some of their games, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I mean, the companies that owned the systems, they were in charge of making video games. Yeah. And it was really not cool for video game developers because they weren't given the chance to be recognized. So if you had a game for an Atari system, you didn't see any names on the package. You didn't see any names on the cartridge or in the game. It was just a game. And what Activision did, they founded a studio, and they were proud about their developers. They were putting their names on the boxes of their games, and they were developing really good games. Like the best games on Atari are from Activision. It's not like a product placement. Activision back then is it's nothing like Activision right now. It's a totally different thing, but back then it was really a thing. You know, Pitfall, for example. That was their first game, and Pitfall was really great looking game for that system. And even today, you can say that a Pitfall is a game about running with a guy and jumping and avoiding some obstacles. And when you see other games from that period, you cannot really say what the game is about when you see the screenshot, because they were just some squares on some other squares. You know, you can just count the pixels. Whereas Activision games were kind of good looking. Yeah. And that was enough topic. All right.
No, it wasn't. It's all about games. I think it was very on topic.
Cedarbird told Duke Nukem 3D. Oh, I remember Duke Nukem. I was playing it like crazy. But actually, the first Duke Nukem that I ever heard about was Duke Nukem Manhattan Project. That wasn't really a great game. It wasn't considered a great game by the critics, but I liked it. I was a kid.
Yeah. I'm trying still to remember this game where you fought as a commando. It was like a side-scrolling game where you could shoot things.
Side-scrolling? What system? A PC?
No, I mean, I think it was like Commodore and Amiga.
Oh, maybe Cannon Fodder.
This one was like I remember Cannon Fodder, but I mean the other one where you were basically like a commando guy walking through the levels and.
What do I think about it? I think I know what you're talking about. But wasn't it like more of a top-down game?
No, it was like Mario.
Okay.
Side-scrolling, but you were like basically like a Rambo. You were shooting at things and you had to survive.
You want me to Google it?
I mean, I feel stupid that I don't remember its name because this game was so like just like it's must play. Everybody probably played it. Just like it's a classic.
Oh, it's just things just happen to vanish from. Oh, you mean Metal Slug?
That's one, and there was the other. I think it also was available on the Pegasus.
Oh, so that's a different thing.
Yeah, things fall out of memory, especially without much sleep. Okay, do you remember if this rover only had to be cleaned, or were there any
You can click the objectives panel right now and see if everything is repair the rover. No, so there is still something to be repaired.
Maybe there's one more tunnel? No. Okay, I don't remember exactly. What was the issue here? I think I know. I didn't check this panel because it was probably damaged.
Oh, so you replaced? Yeah, it's 100%.
It was not only like dirty. It was damaged by the dust. You need to replace it.
You've been bamboozled. And do you know by whom have you been just bamboozled?
By either you or
yeah,
or
of
the
course
other
by
guy.
me.
That's you who wrote those quests.
Yeah.
It's like revenge after years. Like you knew that one day a stream would happen, and then
I was planning it from the very beginning.
Just to make sure about that.
The server tells us that need to finish assembling before it completes the repair. It's so really funny that, as you know, people from the stream tell us how to play this game. I mean, I'm thankful to them.
Yeah, and you mentioned server. He's our most precious fan, I would say. He's following.
That's what I've heard.
Yes, he's following Occupy Mars. I think since maybe for a few years now, and he was the first on our Discord channel, if I remember correctly, one of the first. So he will be one of the first to play Occupy demo with server. You need to be calm. It's coming.
Also, Giga G asked us about
yeah.
Half-Life Green Force. I have all of the add-ons, all of the expansion packs for Half-Life. I have never played Green Force, but I definitely have one.
Yeah, Half-Life was great. Did you play Black Mesa?
Not yet. Not yet. Oh yeah, you did?
I did, and I did play it like 2 months after I replayed the old one, and really it's amazing how similar it is and still how much better it looks. Like they really did amazing job because it's basically the same game, just different engine, completely redone. Just this is an amazing example of a community project. I think there is, so I'm not very good at this right now.
People are telling us that we should change the name of the stream because it still says that it's about translation update.
Probably on Steam or somewhere.
I think it's on Twitch.
I will find it later. And that's because I have to log in, so I guess we can change it later.
Mistakes happen.
Unless Katrin is watching, so she can do that.
Coming back to Half-Life. Well, I still would love to play Half-Life, the newest one. Alex, right? Half-Life Alex.
That one.
It's I guess it's so great.
I'm not sure because on one hand I really want to play it, but on the other it's kind of terrifying, and I don't really like horror. I can't sleep after watching horrors, and that would be, I imagine, 10 times more scary when a headcrab jumps on you and you are just inside their nest or something.
It's definitely terrifying.
Recently I watched a YouTube video where a guy was like playing Alex, and he was trying to like hide from all those headcrabs, and he was so scared he found a bathtub, and he just went into the bathtub and pretended he's not there, to make sure they won't find him.
But it's a thing. I mean, video games have evolved so much that you can now scare people on a whole different level. It's great, I think. I'm also scared of horror games. I don't like them. I mean, I love horror games. I love to think about them, to watch them. I'm not particularly fond of playing them myself. But recently, I've beaten a horror game. Actually, it's not a horror game; it's a thriller, I think. But maybe I'm a Cincinnati, but a thriller is as scary as a horror to me. It was the Polish game from the Farm 51 studio. You know the studio,
Yeah.
and it was you know the game. It was.
Are you talking about a recent one or some older one?
Get Even.
Yeah.
Oh, Get Even.
It's the
Get
one
Even.
with where they photo scanned the locations.
Yeah, that's a photogrammetry. And
Amazing graphics.
Get Even is really great. I mean, I really like it. Because it's not only a thriller, but it's also kind of full of history. That you get to know people, get to know locations, get to know what happened in your own pace, at your own pace, and it's really it's a game changer because sometimes, or mostly, in the majority of thrillers and horrors, you just are bound to, be scared all the time, and you're kind of you cannot do anything about it. And Get Even, you can get even on those, you know the expression, to get even.
Yeah.
To
So you can scare the scarecrows.
or kind of like that, because you have a gun and you can kill everybody that you don't like.
So
But
like,
you're-
kind of like Half-Life. I mean,
Kind of like Half-Life,
I mean,
but
the problem with
you're going to be
headcrabs-
evacuated.
the problem with headcrabs is that they are not like intelligent enough to be scared of you. Because they are scary for you, but you also have some guns, so they should also be scared. You can have revenge, but it's not a revenge when the enemy is not like.
It's
feeling
not
it.
aware that it's a revenge.
Yeah.
Headcrabs are the worst. Oh yeah, they are. And currently, I'm playing Plague. You know, Plague the Innocent.
Yeah, I know it.
Um,
I didn't play it, but I was. I think I have it on my wish list.
the general feeling on this game is that you can feel it's not a AAA. Like sometimes you just feel it, and that, for instance, if Naughty Dog did this game, created this game, made this game, it would be 10 times better. But it's still a great game, and it's kind of like the situation with the headcrabs, because there are all over the place. There are a lot of rats, and you can kind of kill them, but it doesn't give you any satisfaction. They are mindless, so it's numb. It's totally numb. There is no point in killing them. You just have to live, and you just have to survive. As long as you survive, you don't really want to kill them. I don't know if this same situation is with headcrabs, because I think most people kill them anyway. But
Yeah, I think the more realistic the game are going to be, we'll have different idea about what to do with the enemy. Because if an enemy is just basically a mountain of triangles, you don't look at it like with compassion. But if you play in VR and your enemy is a beautiful animal, maybe wild animal, but still, I would have doubts if I, for example, kill it or not to survive.
well, to survive, I will do anything. But yeah.
But remembering that it's a game and you are in VR, I mean, it feels different.
It definitely feels different, but I have not had much experience with VR playing, because I don't own a VR headset, I'm always planning on buying a PlayStation VR. I know that it's a cheap one and it's not as good as HTC Vive, but I'm kind of cheap. I don't want to spend money on that right now, I think.
So I think assuming Occupy Mars will be successful, we will definitely add VR to it at some point. I know that Michał is already experimenting with it in his free time. For guys who are watching, who are on our Discord channel, Michał sometimes wrote about it. So you'll be able to play the Office if you want. I have at home the old Oculus Dev Kit too, so I can also borrow you if you want.
But I guess the original...
It's not the same, I mean
it's not the same, yeah.
It's lower resolution. It's not too bad because the first Oculus it wasn't that immersive because the resolution really was lacking. The second one is better, but still you see pixels on the screen.
I love what Sony did with their headset, because their headset does not have great resolution, but it's really it's so compact that you don't really care about that, and you still can play. Because I had an opportunity to play with Sony VR headset, and it was really good, I have to tell. And the games were good looking, kind of, and given that it's so cheap, I think I'm going to buy it one day. Anyway, I mean, because I like gadgets.
Yeah, I wonder is PlayStation 5 still going into... I just changed the music because it seemed like rock, maybe? It seemed more like rock. I'm wondering if PlayStation 5 is planning something in VR. I haven't read about it, so I'm not up to date at all.
It's really difficult to tell, because they're not saying they are dropping the whole VR thing completely, but they're also not giving us any clues that they're going to continue the project 100%. And what they are focusing on right now is sound and using ray tracing to improve sound quality. Have you ever seen ray tracing in sound implementation?
I think I played with it at university some time ago. So yeah, it's cool, but you also have to... I think it's good to have a good headphones or good sound system with multiple...
Actually, it's kind of true, of course. At least it has to be stereo. But as long as you have left channel and right channel, you're good to go. And I've experimented with it, and I've seen Quake 3 Arena played with ray tracing audio, and that was great. You could really hear that when you were shooting, for instance, a railgun. Is that a rocket gun? You were shooting in Quake 3, and you could hear that a wall is to the left, and you could hear that you're shooting and you stand in the middle of the room because nothing is bouncing off that sound of your gun shooting. It's great. I think if PlayStation is going to focus on that, the gaming experience is going to change immensely, right? Like really considerably. We're going to change the perspective on video games in 2 to 5 years, I think.
Yeah, we saw the Unreal demo, the new one. So it's also there is a focus on the ray tracing, also in terms of video and rendering. I mean, it's not technically ray tracing, but it looks like it is. It's an optimization technique.
Oh, you cannot shoot rays without taking into consideration that you still have to count it, and the GPU is going to make all that job, unless you want to use Threadripper in your consoles, and this is kind of thing that you don't want to do.
So I installed Invaders because meanwhile I wanted to tell our viewers about Curiosity, because some people were asking why do we have to put the rover every time on the table? It's because there will be more tables. Curiosity won't fit on this one, it's so big. So we prepared this new this special jack for him. So we are just thinking, should we move this one a little bit to the left and the curiosity will be somewhere to the right, maybe?
Oh, that was actually the initial plan to.
Yeah, we were first planning to move the whole lifts, right? From
That was
to
like
to the center. But now probably we will have two separate on separate places. And so we will have to remember. Okay, so if I have an opportunity rover, I have to put it on this one, right? If I have curiosity, I have to put it on that one.
Yeah.
So I'm just mentioning it because we started the community challenge. So we just, of course, we are working on the curiosity, and it's not like dependent on the community, but on the other things like additional stuff. There's a lot of things we want to add, but it's it always takes time. So we wanted to like divide it into steps, and the first one will be fixing the radio. So you will be able to basically take this one apart, solder it, and after soldering there will be more options, like an additional station where you can put your own music. That's the first step, and then we have many more steps planned. Okay, so right now I think we have to fix this one again, this time electronics.
I think mass is the worst part to.
Yeah, so many screws.
So many screws, so many things to click on. Because I'm not particularly a fan of this kind of games, like 100% fan, but I wonder what do other people think about it? Like, if there are more screws, is it better?
Yeah, rovers are complicated, and rovers were never designed to be taken apart so often. So
actually, they weren't designed to be taken apart at all. Yeah. They're experimenting right now about creating those satellites that are going to be based on modules, and you're going to be able to fix them, the whole satellites. Have you heard about that?
I read about the SpaceX satellites, those Starlink, that they are basically just one electronic board, and they are like one use. So so it's a different approach. So SpaceX made Starlink in a way to make it to allow very fast manufacturing. So you can produce like hundreds of those satellites very quickly, and then if one breaks, then you just replace it, because it's just one electronic board, a solar panel.
But I see. But still, it doesn't eliminate the problem of space junk, right?
In a way, because they are on a low orbit, contrary to the typical satellites. So they are basically as soon as they break, they are deorbited very quickly because they are low.
Okay, and where do they go?
Yeah, they burn up in the atmosphere.
Atmosphere. All right. So I'm cool with that.
Okay, so I took out the board, but also I noticed that the nav comes out dirty. So let's be perfectionists and clean them. This just reminded me about Dinosaur Fossil Hunter, because I tested it yesterday. The bone cleaning part, the bone cleaning part in Dinosaur Fossils has so many steps, because those bones are inside the rock, so you have to
take the bone out of the rock, and then you just have to prepare the bone and clean it. I guess it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I didn't count the steps, but it's probably like 7 or 8, and we want to add one more because we think there is like one step where we could be more detailed, like between because at first you take the how to say it, the rock around the bone. You have to like destroy the bone around, destroy the rocks around the bone, and then when you have more or less the bone, you want to add additional step where you will be able to like remove all those tiny details from the bones. But then you have like those steps with the cleaning brush, then you spray the acid to get rid of those, for example, calcium oxides, things like that from the bone. Then you have to use pneumatic needle to get rid of the tiniest parts, then polish everything, then spraying water and some oil. So it's a lot of steps. Okay, I have to check what I need to print.
I guess people that are fond of paleontology and archaeology at all, in general, are going to be really, how to put it, are going to enjoy this game.
Yeah, that's what we hope, right? That with Rover Mechanic we hoped that there will be some NASA engineers playing it and they will say, oh, they thought about this, and oh, they tried to be like realistic and make it really as close as possible and still fun, right? So we hope paleontologists who search for real dinosaur fossils will say the same about the second game we are making.
There is a series on YouTube where professionals give their opinions on stuff that you can see on the on television or in the internet, and it's really interesting. I mean, whether some professionals from JTL have ever seen Rover Mechanic Simulator. I don't mean have they ever played it, but have they seen the Rover Mechanic Simulator? And if they have, what do they think about it?
Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest regrets in my life is that I didn't manage to reach Scott Manley to play this game. I'm so curious what he would say about Rover Mechanic.
I think it's like we can still try to reach some people from JTL.
The problem is that we just we were out of luck because Scott decided to just stop streaming games at all around the time when we released Rover Mechanic. Right now he's focusing on the science stuff, the real rocket launches. I think from time to time he's streaming Kerbal Space Program on Twitch, but I understand he's also a busy guy. He's working at Apple, building those iPhones. I mean the iOS things related to it. Right?
Those iPhones or some different ones?
The new ones, which we don't know about yet, probably. Yeah, so maybe one day, maybe he will notice Occupy Mars and he will decide. I will make an exception from what I decided and play this game. Fingers crossed. It's an
iPhone 13. I'm wondering. Fingers crossed. I'm wondering whether in some countries, in some regions, iPhone is going to be named differently, not 13, because some countries are kind of
Yeah, I don't imagine I 13 in China.
yeah.
I think they
That's what I'm
avoid this
talking
number.
about. Some countries just don't like certain numbers.
Mhm. But I'm not up to date. Is it really planned? iPhone 13?
Well, I think there is nothing to guess. It's just kind of we can be sure that iPhone is going to
I mean,
last.
you know, I had the Samsung Galaxy S8, and then there was S10, and they avoided the problem because the new one is called S20.
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 All right.
Right.
Oh,
There will be no
I don't really
14.
care about that. I still use my 5S, and it's still as good as it was. I mean, except the fact that it slowed down.
Yeah,
Because
that's why I stopped using my 4S, because I switched from iPhone to this big screen, this big Android screen. If it didn't slow
I
down,
did exactly. I did exactly opposite.
Mhm. Yeah, who knows what will happen because I usually buy phones like every 6 years or more even. If the previous one stops serving its purpose.
GigaG just sent us iPhone 12.2 electric boogaloo. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Boogaloo.
Giga is also an amazing person. Shout outs to Giga.
Yeah, sure.
I really, how to say, I'm really grateful to have you on our Discord channel, just like Server and others. Just every day after I wake up after like 4 hours of sleep trying to, test some builds overnight, and yeah, we just finished, right? Maybe I can call it a speed run. Okay,
Kind
so
of. It's still 8 minutes that we thought it's going to take. So,
yeah,
congratulations.
I didn't expect that. Okay, so coming back to what I was saying. After I wake up and I see that like Giga posted some meme or some interesting link in the off topic, I'm just like, yeah, it's like we have fans and we do this for the fans. Like, do you feel that sometimes, Maciej? I feel sometimes like maybe like we are some musicians who have their fans, and that's the reason, to wake up when you are so tired after fixing those bugs, things like that.
I think that every time that I check out the Discord channel, I think that those people are really into the stuff that we do. Maybe I still wonder why are they like that, but I think I shouldn't dwell on that idea too much and just be grateful for them and appreciate this fact. So
That's the power of community, because we are looking at those games. I think in the case of Occupy Mars, I probably run this game every day since 2017, and I just don't see the game anymore. I just see lines of code and lines of bugs. So I see it completely differently, and it's so good that we have community who can show us that really this is a great game we've been working on for many years on. We just we are getting so close to the finish line that we
it's always difficult to develop this distance.
It's hard to appreciate, right? It's hard to appreciate how far
it's almost impossible to appreciate the things that you do because you cannot develop this distance to it. You see all the mistakes, you see all the problems in it. Every time I draw something, every time I create something, all that I see in it is just mistakes, errors, and bad things. And when I show it to my girlfriend, she says, "Oh, it's beautiful, it's great. You should post it somewhere." And I'm always like, "No, you're wrong. It's awful. Look at this. This is just abomination of art and it shouldn't even exist, and then I delete the file, and I shouldn't do it. We should appreciate the things that we do more, but actually
Yeah.
it's not really possible to.
Yeah, that's another reason why we need our community to remind us that maybe we are tired of our game, but they appreciate what we are doing, and it just
After
gives us
release,
perspective.
are you all going? After release, are you all going to take a break?
Yeah, vacations, please. Let's do this. It probably will do vacations in Poland because of the virus, but we also have to support some local, places which were closed for many months.
Mazury.
Yeah.
All right.
Water.
So I think let's call it a day.
Yeah. Thank you guys. So that's the training day. I feel like I've trained today. I could like remind myself about this game, about everything in it. I think we've installed all those mini games. So yeah, basically complete experience. That's the end screen, and now it's your time to just add it to the wishlist here, observe the game, and buy the Rover mechanic, of course.
And wait for more. Yeah.
Wait for more, because right now it's just like it's the culmination point of Pyramid Games, of the last 3 years of hard work. We are getting close to Occupy Mars, Dinosaur Fossil Hunter, other games. It will just be a wild ride, and then we are going to have a break, and maybe even more games in the future. But first we need to rest. Remember. Okay, so thank you again, guys, and see you on Discord channel. Add the games to the wishlist and see you there. Bye!